All right. Welcome back, everybody, to the Jaden and James podcast, where we talk about a little bit of real estate and whatever else actually comes up. We haven't been doing it for a while. We're going to jump back into this. Hopefully, have a little bit of different format. We have Brady Sindelier, who's behind the scenes, who is actually helping us out with this. So we hired him. He's part of the team now, and I guess we're kind of excited to get started. So let's get rolling. Hey, Jaden, how's it going?
Good. Going great. How are you doing?
Doing great. I'm actually pretty excited to jump back into this podcast stuff. I think it's actually pretty important. I think people look at us. We have proven success, and I think people want to hear more. How did we get to where we're at right now? So we're going to bring you some more. We got some great topics coming up. I'll be honest, I don't even know. We've been brainstorming. We're coming with some great things. We're going to try to bring this to everybody at least once a week. I think we're shooting for twice a month, I want to believe, like a 30 to 45 minute podcast. Jaden, is that correct?
I think we're recording once a week.
Oh, maybe we're going once a week. I don't know. I guess we'll find out here. So well, today's topic is basically, Jaden, it's a little bit of how we got into this, and one of my favorite sayings everybody's going to learn. And let's talk about integrity. Like, why did we get into this business, and like, why do we really push integrity in our business? And I'll give you by everybody the quote that I give everybody who comes in the either interview with us or everybody knows the Jamesisms that are out there. My biggest one on this is: you do the right thing, the money will follow. And it's 100% true. And I want to say, Jaden, and maybe I'm the one that pushes that a lot, but you're the one that actually have faith. You're the one that has kind of taught me a lot about that, because I'm a little more impatient than you are. Is that fair to say?
Well, I don't know. I mean, I maybe look at it from a bigger picture perspective. I don't want to, I just look at everything from a very big picture. I don't want to be 70 years old with a bunch of money and look back at my life and be thinking like, man, I wish I had treated people better, or I wish I had done things better or been better for the community or whatever. Like, I want to make sure I'm doing the right things all the time. And it's more important to me than money. It's way more important than money, because I know at the end of your life, money's not going to matter. How you treated people and how you operated in the world, how you left the world a better place than you found it, is going to be what matters.
Right.
And I have a big part of my life is my Christian faith, and I don't ever want anyone to walk away from a dealing with me, feeling like I did something wrong, intentionally. I mean, I could screw up and make mistakes, obviously, but
it happens.
I don't ever want someone to think that I'm intentionally doing something wrong or without integrity, because it would look, not that it just looks poorly on me, but it would look poorly on the faith that I have and the belief I have in Jesus Christ.
Well, that was probably one of our biggest things when we first started this business. Is it has a well, I'm trying to think of the word. Wholesaling is kind of, what word am I thinking? It looks shady, right?
It's like, I categorize it as, it feels a lot to me like the payday loan business or the pawn business. It's kind of in the same category as that, or bail bonds.
Yep.
I always feel like there's certain cities that I've been through, and for some reason there's a couple of cities in South Dakota where I drive through, and you see all this. It's like payday loans, pawn shop, bail bonds, like over and over and over and over again. And whenever I think of wholesaling and how the wholesale industry kind of has been and kind of still is, I think of like, those signs, and I think of like We Buy Houses as being just another one of those signs. And I've always felt like we want to be a positive influence in this business to make it, less to make it less shady, to give people need this service, and they should have a reliable, trustworthy place to provide the service. You don't have to operate your business without integrity. And I don't know why, for whatever reason, this industry teaches people to operate without integrity. That's how it's taught. And I don't understand it, because other businesses don't operate that way. It's one of the first things you learn when you talk to successful business people, is integrity is one of the most important things you can have.
So we got to let people know that we never wholesaled the first 2 years because we did not understand how that would work.
We didn't understand wholesaling. Yeah, we understood. I had always flipped houses, so we understood flipping. The wholesaling thing was hard to wrap our minds around, so it took us a little while.
Right.
But figured out how to do it. Well, and also I think partly people were teaching wholesaling as, well, you have to lie to people to wholesale. And I think that was probably part of why we couldn't figure out how to do it, because that's how it was being taught.
Right.
And we weren't going to lie to anybody. The lying part being, hey, I'm going to buy your house when you're not going to buy the house. Well, you can't run a business doing things, saying one thing and doing another constantly. That doesn't work. You're not going to be successful long-term doing that. So we finally did figure out how to do it our way, where we're totally transparent and we explain everything, and we're not hiding anything, and there's no lies. There's, everything's open book, and we're serving the customer. So we're like, is there a way to do this same service but not do it in a low integrity way? Well, of course there is, but nobody is teaching that. So we had to figure out how to do that, ourselves, and that's what we do.
So I think one of our biggest challenges, let everybody know, is how do we make sure we're not those other people, right? And that was a struggle for us to do that. You guys, one of our processes right out of the gates, we always tell people, you're always going to make more on the MLS. I mean, that's not why we're here. Okay.
Tell sellers that. Yeah.
We're here to help people. You guys, I could give you story after story where we've walked into a house and we've turned on power for somebody because they didn't have enough money to turn on power because it was below 32 degrees. We've done the same thing in Florida where we've turned somebody's power on because they needed AC, right? The complete opposite.
Yeah.
We try to look at everybody a lot different than I can almost say any other company who does this. We look at people as they're down on their luck and they need help, and we're giving them help. We're not just stripping of them equity. And I will sit down with any agent that I ever come across to, and I'll explain our business every single time, because again, it's all about integrity. This is why, what year are we on? 9? Year 9.
Yeah, about year 9. Yeah.
You don't stay in business for 9 years and don't have integrity, right?
That's what I always thought. I'm like, if you operate without integrity and lying to people, you're not going to be in business long-term doing that. I don't know how you could be, but right. So we were never going to do any of that kind of stuff. I think the other thing with the real estate industry tends to be pretty big egos, and it tends to be about the real estate person. This is pretty common with realtors and with real estate investors, probably even more so. That it's all about them and what's in it for them, and how do they make money and how do they get rich. And it's really not about the customer or the seller frequently. And that's never been our approach to it. We're here to serve people. We're not here it's not about us buying Ferraris. It's about us providing a service to the community that we feel good about. And the other thing is when you're hiring a team of people to help you, they want that too. That's what they want to do. They want to work in a company they believe in, that that has integrity, that they believe they're helping the community. I don't know how you maintain a team of good people if you're not operating with integrity. You're going to have bad people.
Well, hold on. Aren't they called a narcissist and they think they can run everything?
Yeah, maybe you have a team full of narcissists. I don't know. I have no interest in dealing with that personally. But no, I just across the board, it reinforces itself across the board. Your people want that, and it gives them fulfillment coming to work, and it makes you feel good about coming to work, and then your customers appreciate you, and the community appreciates you, and it just builds on itself if you operate with integrity.
Right, 100%. So, what's a good example? I'm trying to think of an example. I'll be honest with you. I'm looking at some of these notes that Brady gave us. Times we chose value over money. We chose we do that actually a lot. I don't know if people understand.
Yeah, we do it. I don't know if I could pick. I'm trying to think. There's this one time. Oh, a long time ago, we had this house in Robbinsdale. I don't remember the full story, but I think she was deaf or something like that. So we had a team member that did sign language. So she was able to communicate with her. And I don't remember the full story of what happened, but I remember we ended up paying more for the house because I got involved, and I was like, well, I just want to. I don't know. I think we gave her more money because she was deaf, and we ended up not doing very well in the house because we paid too much for it. And it was, so you got to be careful too. Like it's still, at the end of the day, it's a business. You can't lose money on things.
Right.
So you do have to be cautious. That was one that stands out in my mind as one that I've remembered for a long time. So yeah, that one stood out to me, and I remember that for a long time. So, and even as a landlord too, I remember doing things for people. And landlord, you've got to be even more cautious, because you can just get yourself in a lot of trouble. You got to run it as a business first. So you do have to run it as a business to make sure you're not losing money. I know, like, there's that example where you turned on power for somebody where their house was 35 degrees or the pipes were about to freeze, got the furnace running before they ever even agreed to sell us the house. You went and just did that and paid for it.
Yeah. I can let me just give you the 2-minute version of that. Right. So I got a call from a guy, said, hey, I need you to buy my house. He told me over the phone that he did not have power. You guys have to remember, when we first did this business, I was answering the phones. I was going on the appointments. I was doing the cleanouts. I was doing the flips.
Project management.
I did everything from start to finish, I had to know this. Jaden knew a lot about this, so I had to dive in. So I knew this guy, he was down on luck. You guys listen to this. His wife died of cancer. His kid just committed suicide, probably because mom just died. This guy's a grown-ass man that he opens the door. He's almost crying. This guy is down on his luck. Automatically, it goes to human. Like, this guy's a human. Let's make sure he probably needs a shower. He needs to go to a hotel. I basically stepped in 2 steps and said, we're turning on the power. When he talked to me, you could see his voice, the cold voice coming through, right? So we called up, we got turned on the power. You guys, even if we didn't buy the house, I didn't care. This man was down on his luck.
Yeah, it's something you would have done as an individual anyway.
Correct. And then this just reversed that. The exact same story happened in Florida, where this lady was down on her luck. And that's a whole different other story. I don't know if you remember, Jaden.
Right. I remember.
I for everybody out there, this lady down in Florida, she happened to be from Duluth, Minnesota. So I'm in already because I'm from Minnesota, right? I mean, that's how we work. Somebody's from your state. We're going to go with this guy. This poor lady was being scammed by somebody else living in her house. I solved this problem, brought her to the bank. The bank was like, why are you doing this? I go, because I want this lady to never be scammed again. I go, whatever you talk to her, you can talk to her in a different room. I'm going to be out here. These people at the bank were thanking me. Oh, we saw that other gal come in here all the time, but she had authority to pull money out. She was taking $3,000 a month from this poor lady that I uncovered. And I think that gal ended up going to jail. Oh, I'm pretty sure she did.
Yeah. Well, she was a drug user, and she basically manipulated this woman to kind of take her in as her daughter kind of thing. And this vulnerable woman that had lost her husband. And this older lady just thought, oh, she's this nice young lady. She's basically my daughter / granddaughter, whatever. I'm just taking care of her. And she just completely wiped her out. So, yeah, pretty sad.
Yeah. One of the other good things out of that house is this is just a little tip. You can do this, whatever, but always go stop at the house to the left and to the right, maybe across the street. Introduce yourself. You guys, the houses that we're buying typically are troubled people, or people are, what are they?
They're problem houses.
They're problem houses. So when you do that, you're now informing the neighbors like, hey, we got rid of your problem, but if there's more problem that show up while we're still owning it, please give me a call. And it also works out. You get to know the neighbors, right? They know that Home Guys is in their neighborhood redoing a house for them. So it kind of works all around. And here's another really, it's kind of another quick tip is you gotta have to mow these lawns, right? And if you're doing a acre and a half, and you go out to, like, let's say a rural area, I meet the neighbors, because instead of paying $300 for somebody to mow that lawn, I'll give the neighbor $100 and he mows the lawn. So that's another easy, quick tip, right?
Yeah, we also found our contractor in Florida by meeting the neighbors.
But there we go. That's
He was the one that ended up fixing up that house. He lived right next door to it.
Yep, and he's still he's our friend today.
Still our contractor and our friend, yeah.
Yep, still a contract. We have problems with really befriending people. I don't know if that's a good thing or bad thing.
Well, at least only with good people, though.
Yeah, you're right. And I guess the people that stay in your life are the people that the ones that actually need to stay in your life. So, so how did all of those decisions impact your like our business in a bigger picture? Like, because we do this, Jaden, what kind of stage are we setting with our team? What kind of stage are we setting?
I think the biggest impact, is with the team that we have. I don't think you would have the level of quality and commitment in our team that you have if we didn't operate with the level of integrity and like mission that we have too. It's not just integrity, but we have a mission to like change the industry and to provide to do better across the board, and to do this across the whole country. And that gives people a reason to get up and come to work besides making a paycheck. That's huge. Like, why did I go to work this week? I didn't just go to work to make a paycheck. I went to work to make the world a better place.
And it doesn't feel like work when you're doing it that way, right?
Yeah, you're doing that. You also work with people that have shared values and that you get along with and that are good people, so it really, the company can be a lot stronger if you have that going on.
Right. So we can talk more about integrity, flipping the house. I think we need to talk about integrity as when we buy a house, right?
Yeah.
There's a lot of things that other people do. They use scare tactics. I mean, what do you feel like with scare tactics when it comes to the integrity? Because I don't care for scare tactics.
No, of course not. I don't believe in manipulation of at any level. With anybody ever. I'm very anti-manipulation. So, the way we operate is just education. Education is one of our core values. And we want to educate the sellers. We want to be transparent, help them understand how the process works, help them understand their options, never try to push them into one thing. Mm-hmm. Say like, here's a couple things that you could do. You choose what you want to do. We don't ever want to be accused of, buying somebody's house at a discount, like forcing them to sell their house. Like, we don't force anyone to do anything.
Hey, I just thought of one that you even just said that, where we've come across people where they're on the first stage of dementia, on-site dementia,
yep.
And we won't even sign.
I was going to mention that too. If they're not in the right mind to be able to make a decision for themselves, dementia, or if they're under the influence of alcohol or drugs, because that's happened as well. Yep. We will not do business with those people until they can get somebody else to represent them or some other solution. And that's just, I think, that's ethical, obviously. You definitely should never have someone sign a contract that's not capable of signing a contract.
So we're not going to name names because that's not who we are, right? But let's just talk a little bit about some of the stuff that we know that other people that are doing this business are doing. And I'll start it off just because I can. Hey, you must sign now, otherwise this offer goes away in 24 hours. That's a scare tactic, isn't it?
Yeah, and that one doesn't bother me as much because you're also running a business, and I can understand that. And at the end of the day, I think a business has a right to do that. If they want to change their offer in 24 hours, they can. But we're not doing that, so maybe we have an advantage because we're not doing that. I don't know.
Yeah, but doesn't that fall into the category of where you're thinking that somebody's is their integrity? When we're pushing, I agree with you, and I don't agree.
I don't think that's an integrity thing, because they're saying, hey, I'll pay $200,000 for your house if you sign within 24 hours. Well, if you sign within 24 hours and they pay $200,000 for your house, they did what they said they were going to do. There's nothing wrong with that.
Okay, so maybe it's the other way of changing the price 2 weeks.
I think the issue is that we're seeing very often now. This is a recent thing that we're seeing a lot, is that they're saying, I'll pay $200,000 for your house. You need to sign within 24 hours. And they have zero intention of paying $200,000 for the house.
Right.
That's the integrity problem.
You were
They
telling
already
me
know it.
that's actually a business plan that some people.
That's a business plan for almost everybody in our market right now. It seems like.
Yeah.
I mean, probably in the whole country. Actually, that's being taught at masterminds across the country, and coaches and mentors are teaching that tactic across the country.
And that's one thing we don't teach any of our licensees either. You know,
anything that goes against our values and integrity, we're absolutely not going to allow it.
Mm-hmm.
That's not okay. Why would you run a business like that? That's ridiculous. So they're, could you make more money doing that? Maybe. I don't know. But is that a long-term business? Can you run a business long-term without integrity? I don't think you can. I wouldn't want to, So
okay,
what they're doing is they're signing contracts at high prices that they know they're not going to honor. And then the day before closing or the day of closing, they call them and say, hey, we just found out we can't do that price because the market changed or something changed. We got to drop the price $30,000, like right before closing.
So you think they're getting that strategy because that's when, when you're a listing agent. Okay, let's just go back to traditional.
It's the same thing.
It's the same thing. I walk in and this is the struggles that we would have too, because there's times where I know when I'm doing sales calls, I know that this is 100% fine. Hey, I'm going to push it more towards retail.
Yeah.
Right. I just don't like the scare tactics that other people do also. I'm losing my train of thought here, to be honest with you, but my brain started thinking too much.
Well, I think what you were going to go is that listing agents do the same thing where the house is worth $200,000 and they're like, hey, I can list this for you for $240,000.
The buying the listing. That's what I was trying.
Because they know you're to call three. Generally, a seller will call 3 listing agents and interview 3 listing agents.
Right.
And then if the first listing agent says I can list it for $200,000, the second one says I can list it for $210,000, and you come out and go, I'll list it for $240,000. Well, who are they going to go with? Probably the highest price if there's no other different.
They don't know better though. They think
they don't know better, and it's just easier. It's like that's low integrity and it's laziness is what it is. So, because you could educate the seller and help them understand, but they don't want to deal with that. So they just go, yeah, we'll list it for $240,000. They know they're not going to sell for $240,000, but they'll get the listing and then they'll just list it for $240,000. It'll sit there for 3 weeks. Like, okay, we need to drop the price. They'll drop it. The seller will actually end up getting less money for their house at the end of the day because it's been on the market for so long. So they're doing a disservice to the seller, but that's super common. I mean, that's almost universal with listing agents.
So the example that I always give to people, and you know how you talked about where we like to educate, that we're educating people on that all the time, right?
Yeah, that exact tactic, because it happens all the time.
Right. So what we try to do is we try to come in and we be real. Well, we're realistic. We'll probably say 199.9 is what we'll say, because I like to go the other way. I like to get into a bidding war. But you're correct. And so here's what happens, everybody, is an agent comes in, they say they're going to list it for $240,000, and then they put it on the market. Nobody looks at it. Well, we got to lower it now. Well, these people don't realize that every time that you lower something on the MLS, other agents can see that you lowered it, right?
They also see how long it's been on the market for too.
Right. You see the cumulative days on market. You see everything all the way down the line. Well, what it does is it now puts them in look, they've been lowering the prices. They must be desperate.
Yeah, it reduces the perceived value of the house too.
Correct. So it does pay to make sure you get the right price. And again, when COVID was happening, you could put a damn rock out there and say it's $150 as is. That's what I'm selling this rock for, and you would probably sell the damn thing. Those times aren't here anymore.
Yeah. Well, I just think of I try to think of other industries and how they compare to this. So say you were looking for a new truck, like a new F-150, and you went to 3 different dealerships. And dealership number one was, and you're basically looking at the same truck at all 3 different dealerships, and you're going to try to pick which one has the best service and the best price. The first one at $60,000, pretty friendly, seemed like pretty good service. Second place is $63,000, pretty good service, pretty similar. And then the third one, the F-150 is $45,000, and maybe the service is a little bit less good, but I know it's kind of comparable. But you're like, man, that's like $15,000 cheaper than the other one. Most people, I think, would have a red flag about that. why are all the normal dealerships at around 60 grand and then this one is way lower? Like, what was it flooded? Like, why is that, why is it so much cheaper? And that's kind of what's going on with real estate too. Like, if you're getting a price from somebody that's way out of whack, you should question why that is. So if you're getting a couple prices that are kind of in the same ballpark, and then some other prices 20 or 30 grand more, why is that? Probably because it's not real. And they're either buying the listing or they're giving you a high price that they're going to change before closing. So yeah, I mean, it happens. This stuff happens in all other industries. I think people got more used to figuring out how to spot this stuff in other industries. Because we're pretty, if you see something out of place in a different industry, like, I don't want to spend 20 grand less on a truck that I'm supposed to, because I don't know what's wrong with it then. Like, why is it 20 grand less?
Mm-hmm.
That doesn't make sense. So,
I'm looking at some of these questions here. It's like, hey, a red flag moment. How do you recognize when a deal doesn't align with integrity? I'm just trying to think of some examples.
Well, I think when we've had to deal with people that have dementia, or we've had people that were, not sober, we've had to say, either find us someone that can represent you, or we can come back when you're sober. Those are a couple of examples where we're like, where they're ready to sign and we're not okay with it. We cannot sign this contract with you right now. We can find some other way to do it. Those are the most obvious examples. I think the way that we operate with integrity. I don't think we don't tend to get asked to do, low integrity things by sellers very often. I don't think, but we see other companies doing doing a lot of things that we don't agree with, for sure.
Yeah, we definitely see them do a lot of things here. We're doing a really good job. We're actually we're hitting a lot of these points. I love how Brady put all this together. Because we're talking about what are some red flags that tell you this isn't a deal that we should be part of.
As far as integrity, I don't think integrity wise. I mean, I think one thing that has happened to us is that sellers will sometimes call us because they know something about their house that's pretty bad that they don't want to have to tell a buyer.
Yep.
And so they'll call a cash buyer company. And they may not know that the law in Minnesota is you have to disclose regardless. If you sell it as is or regardless, anything you know about the house that's like a fact that could affect the value of the house, you need to just tell the buyer, whether they're cash buyers or as is or anything, it doesn't matter. You have to disclose it. But I don't think they know that. And so we've bought some houses where they clearly knew something was wrong with the house. We didn't know it when we bought it, like foundation issues or water issues in the basement, things like that. So I think there's been some things like that that's happened to us.
Well, I think what's funny about that is what they see as a major problem, we look as we can fix it.
Well, and we go into the houses expecting to have unforeseen problems. Right. So we're not, we still, I think in most of those cases, we still end up doing fine generally because we've already planned for unforeseen issues. Yeah. But it would be nice if they would tell us, like, hey, by the way, when it rains a lot, the water comes in the basement over here, So
that's ironically that you say that. We actually have one that we're buying, I think October 4th, and there's water coming in the basement. Now this is, I think it's a 3-1. Unfinished basement, right? You never see an unfinished basement in a house built in the 60s, right? I mean, literally you go down.
There's a reason.
It's literally the steps, right? And I was, I kind of was freaking out a little bit because I smelled mold right when I walked in, right? I mean, I just knew that there was standing water. Maybe not mold, but I knew there was standing water because you can smell that stuff. Well, I went over towards where the sub pump was, and you could see the water seeping through the wall. If you have a house in Minnesota right now, it's called Minneapolis St. Paul, and you don't have any water in your basement after all the rain that we've gotten this year, consider yourself lucky.
Good basement.
You have a great basement. Okay, back to the story is I went downstairs and I was like, kind of freaking out a little bit because I was like, wait, we're gonna have to put drain tile in. It actually already has drain tile. What happened was they put it discharged from the house, and then it went under the ground, and it would discharge 30 feet from the house underground. Well, what happened is that got plugged and it back pushed everything. And so now all that water that's in the walls didn't have anywhere to go now. It couldn't follow into the sub pump and it pushed out to the yard. So before I did a walkthrough, I asked the homeowner, can you just cut that off and have it shoot right in the yard? I go, what happened? It was falling right back alongside of the wall. And you can look at the wall that's on the discharge side where there's a big sinkhole. I'm like, that's the problem. You just fix that and you discharge that water back, you don't have a problem again.
Yeah.
You know, I mean,
we know how to fix all those. I mean, we know how to fix pretty much every problem in a house. So there isn't too much in a house that's really going to scare us, unless the only thing that really would scare me about a house is if a house has to be torn down, which that takes a lot to have to tear down a house.
Why don't you get a fire department in there to burn it down?
Yeah, I mean, right.
You can. I'm joking, but
we've had I think we've had one or two houses that were close to tear downs, but it's not very common. So
yeah, I think we wholesaled a couple houses that were ready for teardowns, and we wholesaled it for $1,000.
Yeah, if we generally we're not going to do it. We'll sell it to somebody else if that's the case. One other thing I wanted to mention was, as far as integrity goes, is that we have a policy in general. If somebody agrees to sell their house to us, and then something changes in their life, or they don't want to move or whatever, they decide not to sell the house, in general, we will let them out of the contract. And that's not something that's necessarily common in this business to do. A lot of companies won't do that. So that's another thing that we tend to do.
You know what? Hold on. Let's dive into a little bit deeper. And let's give them a reason why. Okay, I'll give the example of what happened on one case, and I'll give you an example that happened on another one. The first case was people, they have to move to Atlanta. They have to move at the end of the month. You guys want to buy our house? Yep, we agreed on it. We're buying your house. You're moving to Atlanta. A week before, hey, we didn't get the job in Atlanta. Something failed. We didn't get it. We don't want to sell the house. I go, perfect. We'll just sign something that says a year and a half. We get first right of refusal. They're not moving. They were not going to move.
Right? Yeah.
The same situation we've had where I had this one lady calling me and crying, and I'm like, oh, what's going on? Oh, we can't sell the house. And I gave in. Come to find out, that was her tactic to get like $5,000 more. All right. Yeah. That's when I will go, wait a minute.
That's why we do this, because we've had that happen a couple times now, and then they just sell it to somebody else for a couple thousand more. So like, if that's what it comes down to, like, we can negotiate and change the price if that's what the deal is. So that's why we like this first right of refusal thing. Like, okay, we'll let you out of the contract, but if you're going to sell the house, we'd like to have the first opportunity to buy it again.
Yep.
So that's all. That way, if you are just trying to get out of our contract to sell it again, like, well, then we should be still in the loop. We've spent all this time and money to figure this out for you. We should still be in the business of buying it. So
I think what we're trying to say here is here's what happens. They're looking at either putting it on the market or they're looking to sell it for cash. Of course, they know if they put it on the market, they're going to get more money. We tell them that.
Yeah.
But that's not what happens every single time, right? That's they need something quicker, or they just that doesn't work.
Or flexibility.
So what we do is we tell them, it's like, hey, we can still list it for you, but then all of a sudden we get a cash buyer. We'll just delete our contract and go with the cash buyer.
Yeah.
And then we'll take our fees from that. If you go with another agent and then we find another cash buyer, guess who you're going to pay that agent their commission they still deserve because they actually sold their house.
Right.
Or your house.
Well, because they're already under contract to pay them a commission.
Correct. Yeah. So that's where we try to get people into, like, hey, we're able to cancel contracts and move something to something else. We're very flexible. Again, it comes back down to that integrity. We're not going to strip somebody of a house.
We're trying to serve people. I mean, at the end of the day, we're trying to provide a service to the community.
One of the first things that should be out of the mouth of any of our acquisitions people is, well, I'm here to help. How can I help you? You know, that's what we're doing. You guys, what we're seeing a lot of these other people do, they're all business. Here's another tip. Actually give a shit. If you give a shit, I guarantee you're going to get more deals.
Yes.
You know, have empathy. You guys, it's not a business deal. This is an emotional deal, right? If somebody loses their house, or let's just say they're selling mom's house after they lived there for 50 years, mom passed, the kids have moved away, but they're all coming back going, well, we have mom's house. We can always go back to mom's house. No, they're not. They're sad. They're sad that mom died, and they're sad they're getting rid of their family house. Be empathetic with that. Understand that. Don't come out and start talking numbers right away. That's a huge tip.
Yeah, absolutely. I think most of our competition is very numbers focused, very business like. Not much empathy. They're not really there for they're there for the deal and the money is why they're there, and we're there to help. So how can we help? And if we can buy your house in addition to helping you, fantastic.
Right. So hey, we're in the last little bit here, Jaden. Just kind of a recap. Value first, money will follow. Right. I mean, that's pretty much do the right thing.
Provide value.
So obviously, thanks for jumping on. We're going to keep doing this. I really think this is good. Listeners out there, hey, like us. I don't know. How does that, Brady? Is it up?
Smash
down?
it. Smash it.
Smash it. I don't know how that goes, but we really do appreciate Brady. This is his first podcast, so make sure you like Brady. Brady, send it out to your friends. Again, thank you, everybody. You got any last words, Jaden?
I mean, no, not really. Sorry, I should have thought of something. No, I don't have anything else to say.
No, it's just I'm trying to read some of those notes. This is
I think at the end of the day, I just wanted to say, I think most people agree with this. Like, life isn't about money's not the most important thing in life. People are. So you've got to operate your life and your business around that concept that people are more important than money, and the money will figure itself out. I think, but you'll have a good life if you operate that way. You take care of people first.
Right. Hey, and stay tuned, and everybody in the future podcast. I don't know if this is the teaser or not. Ask me why I don't like the words "we'll try." We'll leave it at that.